Well, hello there. In today's life and career coaching moment, I have the opportunity to talk to the well-regarded Emmanuel Lopez, who is our motivator man in today's society and through movies shares many tips on life. And recently, he has also introduced a new important talk that comes from his own personal experience with depression. So Emmanuel, thank you for joining us here today.
No, my pleasure. It's good to see you, Steffi.
Good to see you too. First of all, you've motivated us through movies. Tell us a little snippet about what your talks are, so those of you people tuning in can understand what Motivator Man does.
Sure. All my talks are about resilience and indestructible optimism, which is something that I've needed to learn throughout my long career in life because of all the difficulties that I've gone through, and movies have literally saved my life. So I love being able to share these movie recommendations to people who are going through difficult times, and as well as depression.
Well, speaking of movies, you have a beautiful display behind you. Can you point out the movies and in one sentence tell us why they're your favorite?
Sure. Yeah, there's Serendipity. It's a romantic comedy, and it's the word itself is just magical. You know, it means a fortunate accident. So it's something that I believe in. Synchronicity is another term, and parts of it was filmed in Toronto. So it's a wonderful film.
Yes.
And one of my top favorites is The Shawshank Redemption.
Powerful movie. Powerful.
Oh yeah, it's all about resilience, especially long-term resilience. And there's so many motivational tips in it, and so it's one of the main movies that I do talk about in all my motivational presentations.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is Jim Carrey's Yes Man, and it's based on a true story of a man who decided to just say yes to everything.
I don't know what that would be like.
What would happen? So obviously there's some comedy to it. But mostly, I just love this poster and the message that the word yes is just blaring on top, and Jim Carrey is just full of joy.
Out there, right?
Yeah. So and it inspires me because I go through depression. Not just situational depression, but also clinical depression. Mm-hmm. So. One of the tips that I share is you've just got to surround yourself with positive statements, positive images, and it helps you focus on the positives rather than the negatives that are right in front of you. So these movies, even just these movie posters, are reminders for me.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing that, and that's why your talks resonate with a lot of people, because we learn through books and movies. Yes. Now you have a talk that speaks to your personal experience. How were you empowered to do this talk on the subject of depression?
Well, it is fairly new that I'm being open about my clinical depression, because it was only about 6 months ago that I was diagnosed with a chronic depression called dysthymia. It's also known as persistent depressive disorder. And even that, it's kind of confusing, but the whole point is that I was in shock because it's just something that I just never thought I would be diagnosed with, although it does completely explain the challenges I've had for at least over 20 years. And it's very hard to be diagnosed with this because people will think that it's just part of their character. So what happened was, after I got over the shock and I started to open up to friends and just people like Ron Ellis, hockey legend,
yes,
and mental advocate Ron Ellis, inspired me that he was open with his own depression and already speaking to corporations to help people, because he's in a position to help people. And so we had a talk, and he encouraged me to do the same, and that that people, especially in the corporate world, they need a face to be put on depression, because people don't want to talk about it. It's part of the stigma that I think that it's now my calling, and that movies have already been helping me for years, and I can just imagine people are suffering in the workplace, not knowing what's wrong with them, and I feel I'm meant to be there now to be a living example that you can be resilient if you're suffering from depression, and to develop what I call indestructible optimism.
I love that term, Emmanuel. Thank you for sharing your personal experience there and how you feel this is your calling, or what some people call a dharma. If people and companies want to find out more about you speaking to this topic, where can they find you? Can you direct us to your site and how to book you and find out more about you?
Absolutely. They can contact me at motivatorman.com. That's my superhero name. And if they want to send me a direct email, it's hello@motivatorman.com. And I've got a number of topics, and they can be applied to either keynotes or seminars or workshops. And as well, I write a blog called Movies That Motivate, The Adventures of Motivator Man.
Yes, I love the blog. Yes. Yeah.
So it's basically an online service of over 800 movie tips to help people through difficult times and depression in their work or in their life.
Emmanuel Lopez, you will continue to be a role model, and now it's in a topic that's very important and can help a lot of people. So thank you for opening up to us here today and sharing where people can find out more about you.
Hey, thank you. My pleasure.
Okay, Motivator Man, keep on motivating us.
I will.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thank you for today.
Okay. Bye.